Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, recording in progress. Yeah. And it's so nice to see everybody. Thank you for coming on and having a little bit of a catch up with your lives. I know I'm getting a little fuzzy in here. I thought I'd be artistic with the dancing between two worlds because I would just like to, for those of you who are watching and for those who are just coming on, Dancing Between Two Worlds, a novel, is published and available on Amazon. It's been a very, very interesting week. And before I do anything, I want to thank those of you who have walked in this last year with me, that have read the manuscripts, that have given feedback. I don't know who all is on right now, but I do want to thank you so much. You made all the difference, in times where I was feeling very insecure about what I was doing. And people I know, you sort of hesitate to give a critique, or you feel like, who am I to say anything? But every single one of you is in this book, invested in my heart and made a difference. And I do have acknowledgments in the book for you. Thank you. It really feels like I'm not using the word writing, I'm using the word crafting, because I feel in so many ways this book has been crafted. And in the final the final 60 minutes, I realize it's less than perfect. And so I'm going to stick with crafting. It's like a painting, if you will. I've had some very interesting comments from these last week. It's only been out on to the public for the last few days, and I appreciate everybody's comments. The interesting ones are the ones that have comments that have cautions to me, that haven't read the book and have just seen the intro. And so I'm going to ask Kathy to play it right now. This is what has gone out to our mailing lists and to Facebook.
There are moments in life when something stirs. You sense a quiet knowing there's more than what your eyes can see, and more than what your mind has been taught. Dancing Between Two Worlds was born from one of these moments. Across ancient cultures, what we now call supernatural was simply life lived in alignment. The stories in Scripture were never meant to be impossible. We have only forgotten how. Now science echoes what mystics have always known. We live within a field of consciousness where intention shapes reality. What if our dreams, our abilities to move beyond limits, and divine awareness aren't fantasy, but remembering? Within these pages, a family steps beyond fear and control and into a new world, rooted in love, sovereignty, and truth. This is more than a story, it's an invitation, a call to awaken what has always lived within you. Dancing Between Two Worlds, a novel by Helen Toews, now available on Amazon.
And of course, the genius behind that video is Bob, and I really want to thank him so much. He really has been the ballast of the ship, and for a guy who doesn't enjoy reading as much as he likes cinemas and audio, I really appreciate the fact that he's taken so much time to put heart into that introduction. And I feel it, just the choosing of the lake scene. I'm not going to share anything totally about the book right now, other than to say that to bear in mind that you are reading a novel. My heart for a long time because I actually have a whole folder with this title, Dancing Between Two Worlds, that I started 3 years ago. What I wanted to do was to share our journey, in the River 474 journey, the things that we're learning and the things that have brought us to a place of new, an awakening, as it were. We have experienced so much cognitive dissonance as we've been, painting outside the colors or coloring outside the lines, I guess the term is, and how our conversations have changed. But we have changed inside because even though we've been stretched and we've taken science and spirituality together, and we have come into a deeper relationship, a more intimate relationship with the Father, and actually knowing Jesus in a whole different, I was going to say a different way, but a more intimate way. So even though it is a novel, it is, the characters wrap a lot of the things that we have been exploring. I am open to answering any questions that I know, because I know that when new subjects come up and people start asking questions, I am very willing to answer questions and be in conversations. What I don't want to try and do is to prove anything. This is a novel. This is a novel. Even though there's amazing truth and hopefully encouragement throughout that will make us think. I'm still in the process of unraveling things within myself that I've learned as I've researched and written this book. So I'm going to say 90% of the supernatural experiences that are in this book that have been experiences in our lives. So it's kind of too late to say these things don't happen, because they do, and they have. Remember, it's a novel. So where does it go? Just encourage anyone who is interested in expanding and coloring outside the lines. But for a deeper walk, I really hope that this book will facilitate that for you. In the next few months, we're going to do a little bit of launching from what's being taught in the book. We're going to talking to Gina. Gina's willing to do a book club, which means that anybody who has read the book that wants to get together and talk, we're going to facilitate that. We're going to have a Zoom, probably on a Saturday, so that our time zones will be a little bit better, so we can have a couple of hours together if necessary. I am totally prepared to spend that time as well. We've had book clubs forever in our home, and it's one of the most it's very exciting to find books that you enjoy. But I can't tell you the number of times that we've had book clubs and read a book, had all our opinions and gathered what we gleaned from them. And they've been very interesting, but we've often said, boy, I wish I could talk to the author. So I'm willing to do that for us. So we will be putting that out soon. That will be in April or May. So it'll give people a chance to have read the book. And so that it's certainly open to people, whoever wants to come. In June, I'm going to have what I'm calling a master class. What's happening, I think we're all experiencing this, that we learn certain things. But if you were going to write it down, look at your notes from what you're learning, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 months later, there is so much more than that, can be expanded. We expand with it. So I'm going to do a master class that expands some of the things that are in this book, or remote viewing, intentional prayer, translocation, cloaking, and we're learning forming new grids, because this is what a lot of this does. It forms new grids. So we're going to do a master class, and for anybody who would like to be part of that in April or May. Then in September 10th to the 14th, we are going to gather. We're going to gather on the lake that Dancing Between Two Worlds is written from. And there'll be more information there too. So save the date if you can, for 10th to the 14th, and we'll be getting that information to you sooner than later. So because it's not, it needs planning, I'm sure, for all of us. So that's it. Really, really delighted, and looking forward to your comments, and looking forward to learning with you as we expand in our lives together. So I'm going to turn this off because we have tonight, I'm actually really, really excited about this. Rick and Karen have agreed to share the evening with us and share their lives with us. As I was thinking, Ed's going to come up, and the four of us are going to be in conversation. But I was realizing that Karen and Rick were a couple that have read the book. I think Rick's read it more than once. Their influence of things that have happened to them from some of the episodes from where the characters develop some of the story, they took those thoughts and ran with them, and some of their testimony is actually in the book. So we'll talk more about that another time. Okay, well, here's our formal introduction. First of all, everyone on the river knows Karen and Rick. For those of you who don't, I think you're going to really enjoy a beautiful story, because they are a beautiful love story. And I know Ed and I've had a few chats like this just as friends, so that's why we're doing it together tonight. And we are going to be in conversation, but I do want to release you guys just to do the lion's share. Go with your hearts, go with wherever you would like. When I was sharing in the commercial for the book, I want to say thank you to the two of you for all the help, encouragement, and input that both of you gave during the writing process, and it meant a lot. And Karen actually had she was reading about in the book. One of the characters is teaching about prayer, sharing about or healing. Sorry, and Karen wrote one morning and said that she was following what was happening in the book, and she actually had the exact same experience where pain left. So testimony can't get better than that, putting a novel to work, right? And
right.
I'm just grateful that you took on the task. It was pretty daunting to do that. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys introduce yourself, because you two both had to introduce yourself to each other. You are a beautiful love story, and you just share from wherever you want. How's that?
That's great. Hi, everybody. We're excited to share our story, and we have never done this before. So I realized this morning that at the beginning of this year, I felt like the Holy Spirit said, this is your year to come out of hiding. I wasn't sure what that meant, and to be seen. So I think this is part of it right here. Just sharing some of our journey and our story. And so I found a quote this morning that I had written down just a couple weeks ago that just speaks to that. It is by Frederick Buechner. It says, the original shimmering self gets buried so deep that most of us end up hardly living out of it at all. Instead, we live out all the other selves, which we are constantly putting on and taking off like coats and hats against the world's weather. And so I'm on a journey. We're on a journey of allowing our shimmering selves to be aware of them. They've always been in there, but they've been hiding. And how we ended up here is interesting. So I have a news app, and it was a brand new news app called 1440 News. And when I opened it up, there was an invitation to submit love stories. Totally out of character. I was just like, I'm sitting down and I'm writing this. It had to be 100 words or less. When I sat down and did it, I had Rick read it. He approved it, and I just sent it off. Well, that's not my normal process. Usually I have to sit with things for a few days. And much to my surprise, our story was the first one they printed. So that was really special. And I'll just read that short bit. So it says, my dog Gracie and I were taking our final walk of the evening. As I opened the outside door, Gracie anxiously rushed out, causing a stack of books to go tumbling from the arms of a handsome neighbor. Stepping back inside, I realized this man lived directly above me. In unusual fashion for me, I had been single for 18 years after an 18-year marriage. I invited him to meet me for coffee the next morning. Never done anything like that. This divine door opening led to the sweetest courting and gift of a beautiful 17-year marriage.
I thought it was 18 coming up.
Yep, we're in our 18th year.
Yeah.
So
beautiful.
Well, what I'll say about that, the divine door opening, and we didn't really think of it as a divine door opening until some time later. But this is new for us to be vulnerable, and I want to be vulnerable and be an encouragement. When I met Karen that way that night, I was not looking for a relationship, not looking for anyone to go to coffee with. A meal would be good, but I had right out of high school, I was married for 7 years and was devastated when that ended. And then sometime later was married, and that was 25 years. Once again, devastated when that ended. So I was not looking for companionship. And God had a different idea. And I kept telling him, I'm looking for more. I want to go deeper. I want more. And that's what happened. I found someone who wanted to go deeper, wanted more of God. And it just blossomed from there. I will say this: in August of that year, would it be? Yeah. I was depressed. I didn't know what to do. Work was really rough. I was lost, totally lost. And just before I moved to this apartment, I sat down one night and I wrote on an 8x11 sheet, and I counted it somewhere around, I think, 25, 26 lines, single spaced, what I would want in a mate. Now, I was not looking, but what I realized now, and I'm getting language for, is I was setting an intention for the future.
Right. That's so good. That is.
And it happened. I don't have words. I can't say enough about what happened that night because it started, that was the starting of the process of me unwinding. And I think Karen too. I mean, um, I'm going to stop there.
Well, and like I mentioned in the story, after bumping into him, helping him pick up his books and stepping back inside, and thought, well, I at least need to speak to this man. uh, and then ended up just in a few seconds of conversation realizing, whoa, I have a lot in common with this guy. And I wasn't looking either. I'd been single and not dating for 18 years. And so I just asked him out for coffee, which was not like me at all.
Once again, she's doing things she didn't normally do.
And so the next morning we we found out in that short conversation, we both had been laid off of our jobs. So we were both home the next morning. And so we went for coffee and ended up being there for 3 hours and learning a lot about all the synchronicities that we shared. But I share about the activity that we did, the circus.
Well, in the conversation, we were trying to recapture that. Somehow Karen told me about a meeting, a teaching she'd gone to in St. Louis regarding learning about how to present or how to walk through what your dreams are. And it was called The Path. And I set up, I'm like, I'm interested. I want to know more. And so we talked about it. And you might have to, I'll introduce the circus. So she draws on a paper, and I found it the other day and I didn't know what it was. I was like, where did this come from? But I saved it all these years. And now I'm looking for it again. But she drew the circus.
First, I asked him, I said, if there were a circus, who would you be in the circus?
There you go. Yeah.
And and then I would illustrate it, but it was really interesting. It's to help.
Well, she did. She drew the, what do you call the guy that's out there?
The ringmaster.
The ringmaster. She drew the ringmaster, and then she drew the trapeze. And she said, "Who would you be?" And just like that, I said, "Well, I'd be the catcher." And I've thought more about that, and I'm like, wow, really? And I'm not looking for anything, and I'm catching it. So that was fun. Well, let's take that path on a little farther. We decided to do the path together. And so she called her friend who had
done the training together.
Been with her on the training, and we had it all set up to go to the library. And in Overland Park, there's multiple libraries, so she set it up for the closest one, supposedly. Well, we head to the library. We get there, and they don't have us on the calendar for their library. It's about 5 miles away. So we're like, well, that's not going to work. We're running out of time. Well, let's just go back to my place. I've got a blank wall. And so we put up brown paper on a 10-foot wall.
And I'll share kind of the process, and then I'll come back. So my friend and I, you put like this 10-foot long paper on the wall, and one of us asked him questions. The other one illustrated it. And the goal is you start with a dream, and you illustrate it, ask questions, ask how does it feel to be living in that dream. It's a really awesome process. And then you bring it back to today. So you create a path to your dream, and it takes at least 2 to 3 hours. So my friend and I are in the process with this guy that I barely know that lives above me. And tell about your dream.
Well, my dream was to get back to the farm, and by getting back to the farm, I don't want to maybe not use the word farm, because farm can mean a lot of big things. big equipment, all that. I wanted to get back to the country, and I wanted to create. My idea was to create a model farm, a model garden, where I could teach other people how to grow real food, and also have a center of a lodge, if you will, where there would be housing for visitors, where we could have lectures, and we would have this amazing kitchen where someone could come in and teach us what to do with kale, of all things, back then. Now I know everything about kale. No, at any rate, I'm describing this person who's, a nutritionist who's teaching moms, if you will, how to go into the garden and pick the food, which would be no different than if you went to the grocery store, bring it back into the kitchen, prepare a meal. She freaks out.
Well, hold on. So my friend is illustrating this, and she stops and she asks Rick, she said, so are you interested in having any love in your life? She draws this big red heart on the map. And Rick excused himself to go to the bathroom. And when he left, I was freaking out, because when all of that unfolded, I heard the Holy Spirit say, you're going to marry that man. And I was like, what? So I told my friend, I said, this is what's happening. And I was shaking so hard. I said, I cannot do this. She goes, never mind. You just be quiet. I'll finish it. So she took over, and I never said another word. And he didn't really know what happened.
I had no clue. I just got right back into the flow of things.
Yeah. So that kind of ended that night, and I'm sitting there just like, what in the world do I do with this? Sat on it. So a week later, we had our first date, right? That's about,
Thanksgiving, yeah.
Yeah, it was on Thanksgiving, the 22nd of November. We met on the 11th of November. And so Rick asked me if we wanted to go to the Plaza, which is a place they light up at night in Kansas City after the lights were on, and we just walk around. I said, great. And I decided we would play this game called 20 Questions to get to know each other. So I would ask a question and he would ask me the same one back. And much to our surprise, we had exact same answers to so many of the questions. It was kind of freaky.
Yeah, it was freaking us both out.
We were kind of like, when does this happen? Same movies. We both worked in grain elevators. We both grew up on farms. We had cows, just all kinds of things. We
like the same food.
Yeah.
Well, let me describe it. Steak. I mean, Karen is into, nutrition kind of food, and I'm still with steak and potatoes, but at least we did agree on steak.
So while this is all going on, I'm also had gone back to school to become a holistic nutrition coach. So, the next week I asked him to come over for dinner.
Now I want to back up. When I would come into our foyer, there was a stairway, and there were two stairways, and then for the upstairs, and then also you had two doors for the main floor. I would come in, there would be this amazing aroma of home-cooked meal coming out of one of the doors. And I quickly realized it wasn't the two other guys, because they were pizza guys. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is she cooking? It smells like pot roast. I would go over and sniff at the door. And then run upstairs real quick, very quiet. And the funny thing about that is that her little dog Gracie would normally bark. But whenever I came to the door to sniff, and that was
He never barked.
only once, she never barked.
That's funny.
But I accepted because I was getting pretty hungry. Jiffy cornbread and eggs and bologna. That was getting old.
Bisquick, that was your main.
Yeah, and I'll be doggone if she didn't set down in front of me something that looked like a mess to me. Reminded me of when my mom would open a can of spinach, put it in a pan, cook it until it was 2 days old, seems like, and then put it on a plate. What it was, she had sauteed kale and seasoned it beautifully, had quinoa and salmon. Well, I thought, man, I'm okay. We've got salmon. I can handle that. I don't know what this other stuff is. But I have to say that my first bite, I decided to do the green stuff first. I mean, that's when I fell in love. I'm like, oh boy, this is good. So anyway, just a fun story about that.
Yep.
So the moral of the story is the way to a man's heart is really through his stomach. It really works.
It still works.
It does.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we have so many stories, and we'll keep it to some specific things. But one of the things that I wanted to say was that I told my daughter, and I was really, oh man, I was nervous about telling her because she was 10 or 11.
Yeah,
I guess she was 10, and I saw her all the time, but I said, Katie, I met someone I think I want you to meet. And when Katie met her, she turns to me and she goes, Dad, she's a keeper.
Oh.
And it's like,
oh man. That.
Yeah.
So it didn't take her long to warm up. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. So you both have children,
right?
Yeah.
I have 5 adult children, and now we have 6 grandchildren.
Yeah, I have 1 adult daughter.
And unfortunately, my adult children were not thrilled or supportive. So that was one of the really big challenges we had to work through. Was me work through separating my fear of not pleasing them and going after my heart, which I did, but it took me a while. It was just like it was my time. And I think that takes me to something that I wanted to say that has been so important to me is I had really never felt like I had a safe place in my life. And when I met Rick and we got married, I've had a safe place to live inside and out ever since I met him. And because of that, God just used that then to begin to really unwind me from fear and from control in such a ongoing, beautiful way. I mean, it's still happening. I'm still a work in progress. But I just, what a gift that was to me after being married 18 years in an abusive marriage and then 18 years single, never thinking that I would be married again and content to live by myself. And then to have this surprise come along in my life. It's just a huge kiss from God. I've always called him my restoration husband.
Oh, lovely. Oh, lovely.
So God, for both of us has been restoring in our lives so many things that have been lost or stolen.
Right.
And that has been, the really important things. It has been the joy.
Well, when I look back on, the divine door opening, there was so much. I mean, that is so powerful and so important, because little did I know. I mean, we got that was in November of 07, and we were married the 22nd of August of '08, and July 3rd of '09 would be,
Yeah.
I became very ill. I was working for a wonderful guy doing remodels and just having the time of my life. And I got so sick I couldn't work. I literally um, I couldn't do anything. And
You want me to tell?
well, I just wanted to say that one of my best friends, matter of fact, I'll go out to his place, his farm tomorrow, and he came to visit. He would come over before he went to work on third shift, and we'd do a Bible study. Actually, he did it because I was not in a very good place, and he told me, he said, "I thought I was going to lose you, and it's because of Karen and how God connected her to naturopath and an acupuncture to take her through her healing that I was able to walk through this healing. But if it hadn't have been for Karen, I honestly don't believe I would be here today."
Wow. Wow.
I'll just say really briefly, part of the process of his healing was to go on a 30-day broth diet. And so he has some Native American in him. And so we got buffalo bones and deer bones and things that would really feed him. And I made broth and joined him in it for a month, and we just had broth. Prior to that, he was on like major cleansing stuff, quite a journey. But after a year, he came back to himself, and we're so grateful for that.
I had to say that I thought, oh, how am I going to do this? I can't crunch anything. I'm telling you, this woman can make anything delicious. And that broth was, I mean, it was creme de la creme. And I never balked on it. I mean, once I started, I didn't want to stop actually. And that was, yeah, how she took care of me. It was amazing.
You know, we never know in our life. And I look back now, I'm 74, Rick is 75. And I see all the threads and I see all the lessons and preparations for where we are today.
Yeah.
And it's amazing
Yeah.
to look back at the path now.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful. You know, I feel like he's prepared us to be here on the river with you all the last couple of years and grow together. It's been an amazing opportunity and journey for Rick and I. I think the thing that has been so important to me is that we both are hungry and we both have wanted to grow together. And that's been just the most incredible gift to be able to do that. And we're both, you know, similarly motivated, and the dream we still hold in our hearts. We see ourselves there. It's real, and we just physically haven't moved in yet, but in our heads we've moved in. We're living there. Yeah. And it just becomes more real all the time. And so that has been really fun. But I have to tell you a funny story really quick, kind of back up, because Rick lived directly above me. So his apartment was a carbon copy of mine. So that made for some interesting experiences after we met. We could be in the bathroom at the same time. We could hear each other. We knew everything that was going on. And I don't know if you remember this song, "Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me on the pipes." If the answer is no, we did that a lot. Played with each other. So those were some dear fun times. And I think there was one more story that we really felt we wanted to highlight, and that was the year that Rick was in this recovery process. We actually lived on a place where we didn't have to pay rent. It was pretty rough, but it was in the country. That's all we cared, because we knew that's where we needed to be to heal. And we were sitting eating a meal one night, and
noon
or
lunch.
at noon, yeah. And I'm like, all of a sudden, this guy doesn't say a word. He jumps up and walks out the door, and then he's gone. And I'm like, he took off in the truck. He had never said a word. And I'm like, what in the world is that about? So what happened?
Well, I'm getting language to what happened. I had no clue. I just knew that I knew I had to leave, that something wasn't right on the property. There's 75 acres, and there was a barn south of the house and all the buildings you couldn't see. And that's where I went. And I remember driving in a way that I made as little noise as possible. And I pulled up, and two guys were they had already broken the glass on the passenger side of a ton pickup or ton truck, and we're getting ready to take it. And come to find out, one of the guys owned it. This whole property had been under foreclosure, and a guy I knew bought it, and we were there just to be there. And so anyway, I stopped the theft, called my friend, and he talked to the guy, and they left. But had I not gone down there, they'd have taken the truck. And I don't know. It's just I think back on that, and I think I didn't know what I was doing. I just did it. And I've had understanding going through the teachings that you're offering, Helen, is that I've had more of that kind of thing that I didn't realize. And now, especially reading your book, I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's really, it's been fun going back over our story and going, oh, what about that time? And so it's.
Well, I said that was a really good example of direct knowing and omnicognition. He just stepped right into it. I never said a word, it was gone. It's like, wow.
Totally. Totally. Such a good, and what really is emphasized to me and encourages me, and probably if we go through the whole Hollywood Squares, we have these experiences without, like Rick's, just bringing language to it, but you acted on it. And to me, that says that you were living in a frequency, that level that took courage. That took you were not living in any low frequency that would have kept you in fear or doubt or anything like that. You went boom and acted on it. Since then, have you had other experiences at all like that? That's pretty dramatic. When you think you just go up and leave.
I can't think of an example, but he has. That's something I always recognize, how he has a knowing about things, and
Right.
he acts on it.
I'll say this, that I believe that where we live now is south of the Kansas City area. And the Kansas City metro area is huge, widespread. And there are things that will go back into the city, the suburbs, for shopping, groceries or whatever. And I-35 goes right by the town we live in into the city. And so, well, get on the highway and go, it's faster. There are many times that I just have this sense, and I'll ask God, Lord, highway or back way? And
Right.
Many, many times I get back way. I just have that sense. So I think that would be right now, thinking about it, that would be the one thing.
Yeah.
You know.
So you're acting more on this knowing that because it just lands on you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that is such a great testimony.
Well, I would say the story that you tell that happened when he was really young, he was 3 or 4 years old walking in this because he was playing in the sandbox on the farm and they had cattle and
There's a dairy
a dairy,
at the
and
time.
his grandpa and his dad were pulling in the driveway, and he went to them and said, "There's something wrong with the cow out in the field." And his dad dismissed it.
Oh.
And his grandpa said, "Oh, I think we better go check it." And what happened?
Well, they went down. Sure enough, she was having trouble having the calf, and they had to pull it. And the thing about it is that the setting is you, I couldn't from my sandbox see it.
Right. Right.
Couldn't see. They were in the pasture a quarter mile away,
Right.
but I couldn't see them from the sandbox. For some reason, I got up, went over to the fence, and I'm looking down there, and I can still see that cow today. I can't think of her name, but I can see it. And
You were 4.
pardon me.
And you were 4 years old?
5 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah, so 4,
That's the
5.
vicinity.
It's close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Wow.
And I haven't really thought much about growing up on the farm, and if there was any other, but I know there have been, and I'm just being reawakened.
Right. Ed and I had, we're loving listening to, because we had time alone, just the 4 of us, when we were down in Missouri. And that was our introduction to you as a couple, and we just love that, and have had time since, but haven't gone into this part of your story. And it is so encouraging. One of the things that over the last year, as we've dialogued on some of the just the things that are going on in the river and our experiences, and that is the 2 of you, when you are learning something, or when you start to something's inspiring you, you get right on it and act on it. Like I think that in itself is I don't know how to say it. Very few people get knowledge for something and then act. Like when you were Karen, when you something was, I don't remember the whole story, but it's recent. You had read something about about healing, and you immediately decided to incorporate it into your life. And I think so. That is the most encouraging, and have it work, right? Have it.
It's life changing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, wow, good for you, and what a blessing to do it together. I'd like to package this up, because there's a lot of Karens and Ricks out there that needs this encouragement, that think you're going in one direction, and God just putting you totally into together. That is so sweet.
So sweet.
And so are your families blended, bonded, pureed, anything?
Well, no, a little bit,
Okay.
even after 18 years, but I have to look back and say they came from that same broken 18-year marriage that I did.
Sure.
And they're still on their healing journeys. A couple of them are very accepting. Well, 3 of them now, and loving. That's just happened in the last couple of years, which has been wonderful. So we know they all have their journey and their time, and we're giving them permission to be who they are, where they're at. And that's been part of my growth and change, to allow them to be who they are and where they're at. And I don't have to demand anything from them.
There is a lesson right there in life. Good for you. Good for you. Wow. Yeah, Bobby just said perfect.
Yeah.
We're,
Well, because of the things we've learned, I've been able to just always go and sit with my children, not in the presence, but in the spirit, just be with them, pour out my love upon them, and, give them permission to be who they are. And that fills my heart for the longing for the ones that I'm not currently seeing face to face. And I know that God's doing something in that, that presence,
yes.
that being together, that unconditional love. I believe they feel it. And that, we all, as we're all learning, we all are longing for that unconditional
Yeah.
love and acceptance. And that's been a huge change for me on the river, is really being able to understand that and step into it.
Right.
I just said, God, that's what I want to be.
Right.
And he's doing that in us.
I think one of the times where you called me one morning or emailed or something, where you had first, it's a year or more ago now, had that you just made a decision that you were going to hold somebody, one of your kids, in your heart and not let go. Like, never mind putting it on a time, right, for 2 minutes or whatever. And you did it until, I don't know whether you fell asleep or just felt to release. And then the next day, that person connected.
Yeah. Yeah.
That really encouraged me, like, really and truly. I had been personally doing it, not with the same results like that, but when you shared that with me and what had happened, it changed me. I still did it. I did it with more understanding, but like more faith, more knowing, because you shared. And I really wanted to share that, because when we share with each other, doesn't matter where anybody's at ever, it's amazing how it affects us. And I just want to encourage you to keep doing that, because you both have that in your life, and it's very powerful. Very, very powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We appreciate all of you so much,
Yes.
because we're where we're at because of all of you and what we're all stepping in together and how we affect one another. It's just beautiful.
How about I open up the Hollywood Squares and see if anyone has questions for you?
Let's see. Gina taking notes.
Sorry?
Gina's taking notes. Oh my goodness.
Nina's probably transcribing what you're saying. I just love her. I just love her.
Oh, you guys are funny. I'm not really taking notes and I'm not really transcribing.
Oh,
I'm just writing what
what you're hearing.
is I'm understanding about what you're saying,
Oh, oh.
and what is speaking to me. That's
Good.
all. Those are my notes.
There you go. There
Nothing too, intellectual or anything, but I love your capacity, both of you, your capacity to remember,
Yeah.
and also to remember,
Mm.
right? Both
Yeah.
both of those concepts, keep flying around in my heart, and you're remembering who you are and whose you are, um, and your willingness and your allowance to release whatever,
Amazing.
hold whatever,
Mhm.
to persevere in whatever, to and then to know and perceive and see, whether you know it or can explain it or can articulate it. It's not out there, it's here. And so I'm just hearing that, seeing your process, feeling your process. Beautiful. It's a beautiful capacity. And then it brings you to love.
Yeah.
And love always keeps you. And, and I keep thinking, oh yeah, love never fails. Love covers everything.
Mm-hmm.
Love conquers all.
Mm-hmm.
And so all your stories are ultimately and get to that spot, and then flourish, and then manifest whatever. And I love that your whole meeting was just so organic, and it was so out of character. It was out of outside. It was led from the inside.
Yeah.
You did stuff that you wouldn't normally have done outwardly, but it was because of your capacity and your allowance to love.
Yeah.
And you don't quite know what yet. So that's beautiful. I love that. And you're both super good at it. And so it seems that in that dedicated action, whatever you're going to call that, whatever we just said, your arising inwardness just spills out.
Yeah. Oh, Gina, this is really true, really true. Thank you for sharing that. Rick and Karen, I'm with Gina. You guys display such amazing transparency and courage. And I just know it's just a beginning. I don't know where it's going, but I'm with you, Karen. You're coming into something.
Yeah.
I think we're the shaman on the shore looking at the ripples in the water. We're not sure what it is.
Well, you know what? They're shimmering.
They're shimmering, exactly.
They said it, and they know it.
Yeah.
And we get it, and we're with you. And we love it. I love it. Oh my gosh, beautiful.
Yeah.
You have such a beautiful way with words, Gina. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Very encouraging. Thank you. Caroline.
I really, really, really loved it also. And I just love what Helen said about you, that you follow, get nudges, follow them. Whereas a lot of times, and that does take huge courage. So that's really, really fantastic and encouraging and inspiring. And I just wanted to say also that about 20 years ago, I read a book. And in the book, the author was a Canadian author, describing the visit where I always think he was a young man. I suppose he was. A young man went to Jesus and asked him what should he do to be saved, something like that. And he said he had to sell all and whatever. Anyway, but that's not the point. The point of it is that the way this author wrote that little thing, it was like I was there in the marketplace and people walking past and blah, blah, blah. So I actually was so fascinated by this that I looked him up and found him and rang him. Unfortunately, it was 3 a.m, and he was very polite. And he said, do you mind ringing back in a few hours? So that was me forgetting there was a time difference. So then I did phone him back, and he said he used to go outside and sit under a tree somewhere or whatever and go into a Bible story and be there. Oh. I mean, we hear of this now, but not then. And he went into the marketplace and he was standing there while the young man was speaking to Jesus. So I can remember thinking that was so amazing. It was so real, and brought it to real life. And I got more out of the story. So from then on, I have done it from time to time. and it's just been so exciting. It's like instead of watching a Netflix, go and do that, because it's just as exciting. I'm not going to say it's productive, but it's exciting. Anyway, somebody's story, whether it's a Bible story or whatever. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say, and it came from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you, Caroline.
But I will tell you, I'm not about to come into your house and sit there under a tree for a while and learn off you two that way. I'll just learn off you this way. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, my golly. Maggie, you had a question. I can't find it. I'm pushing chat and I'm coming up with.
No, it was just a beautiful love story. Thank you for sharing, Rick and Karen. It's I wanted to ask if you could share where you got the quote from, the quote that you started with, because that was very deep, and I wanted to look it up. So.
Oh, yeah, Frederick. Is it Buechner? Am I saying his name right? It's Buechner.
Buechner. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Wow.
I would like to hear the story about the healing that Helen mentioned. I know you've shared it of when it happened, but I'd love to hear hear what all that transpired for you.
Yeah, I'll probably tell the story a little different today because I'm down the road a little further, had a lot more practice, but it's still ongoing. Beautiful principle. Instead of resisting pain or whatever is going on in my body, the idea is to allow it, love it, welcome it, and realize it has a message for me. And I would love to hear the message as that energy moves on through me. It's not here to stay, but it's a whole different approach for me. I've resisted pain because I didn't know to do anything different, but coming into allowing, and I use that now for pain and all kinds of things every day. I just allow you to be here. You're here. And instead of fighting it, I just embrace it and love it and welcome it for whatever it's here for. And it seems to dissolve much quicker and move on out of my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think in our world of painkillers and whatnot, it doesn't make sense, in this world. But I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of what you've done, because I have, in instance, remembering your story and some of what we've learned here, I've tried to do that maybe in a slightly different way, like breathing through some of that pain, but in that way also accepting it. But I appreciate your testimony in that. So cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome.
I think it's called the gift of pain.
The thing is that pain has a purpose. And it's not that we welcome it to take up residence. It's that we're not ignoring it because it's part of a process. And when we understand that we are not our pain exists, but we are not it, right? You become the observer then. And in that, we release it from our body because it started on a path and is keeping on going instead of coming to live. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Lana, who's jumping up and down and dancing.
I'm so in. Anyways, it's also not getting into fear, because fear just locks you into that pain, or fill in the blank, whatever that issue may be. But I love what you guys shared. I want some of the broth.
it's in my freezer and refrigerator. I always have plenty.
It's amazing.
Well, you live a ways away, so I might need to learn how to do this myself. But anyways, I loved your story. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm so encouraged when I listen to your story about your kids, because, since I made the decision I made, there just seems to be a little, I know my kids still love me, but there's a greater distance. You know what I mean? So I know they're working through their own stuff and I need to give them the space to do so. And I am, but sometimes it's hard because I'm used to like having the family dinners and stuff like that, right? So everything's just kind of shifted, but I am so encouraged listening to you too.
Oh,
Awesome.
yeah, good for you, Lana.
Good.
That's the hardest thing for a mom who's used to having her family around, like I was, and then suddenly they're absent. So I appreciate that, and way to go.
Yeah, we're with you too. Thanks,
Yeah.
Lana. Plank family.
Wow. Rick, I just want to keep encouraging you because you helped me with your vulnerability. And, we didn't grow up in the same environment, but we grew up the same way in a lot of ways. And so just hearing you talk about where you've come from and how surrendered and, okay, where are we going next, Daddy? That you are is encouraging to me. And you always have been. And Karen, just awesome, awesome. I will admit that when he talked about, we are, by the way, the steak on this side and anything green and horrible on this side. Horrible tasting, but probably good for me. Not that she's a bad cook. It's just the food starts off bad. Let me just say it that way. And you have to fill it with love or sneak it into my meal.
Cauliflower.
God, that cauliflower is Satan. But but Karen, I got to tell you, I'm so encouraged because Elizabeth's sister is going through that right now. She's been divorced for a little while, and after that divorce, she got very close to her daughters, very, very close. They're just this tight group, and God brought somebody into her life, and they're fixing to get married, and there is some resistance from her daughters, and I think it's fear of change, fear of what we had, and who is this person, and all of that, and she is. I mean, Elizabeth is amazing. Imagine her twin. She's so sweet and she's so giving and she's so loving. To hear her struggling it is very hard for me because there's a protector in me that wanted to drive to Florida a couple of times and visit her ex-husband, but I didn't. And then she kind of healed from that, got really close to her daughters, and now there's this, I believe it's a pass-through pain. And thank you for saying that. Whoever asked you, and I'm sorry, I can't remember to share the healing story. Man, that's Kathy, thank you. Because I got to get there because I am still physical pain, not so much, but like a cold, I can't. I got to take the medicine. But I get it a little bit now because Elizabeth brings the wisdom in and she's like, there's a lesson for you in this. And while in the moment I may not receive it well, it lands. And in the quiet times, I can start looking for what's the goal? What's my prize at the end of this? Not a gold star, not a cracker, but the lesson that I'm learning through this. And I've had to learn a lot through pain, physical pain, because I pushed through it. But I'm going to think of you now when stuff comes on. Like, I hope I wasn't on camera, but I've hit both funny bones tonight while we've been in this meeting. And I hate that feeling, but I'm just going to figure out what that lesson is, what I learned from it. And I'm not trying to trivialize it at all. I'm being serious that, okay, this hurts, instead of, did I work out too hard? Or that was silly, I bumped my elbows again. Just see what the little message is. Be that person that can hear the still small voice of, this is what I'm working on in you.
Yeah. Yeah. And in doing that, we become the observer, not the participant. And therein lies the difference. Uh, and it's only when you do it that you get the lesson. Because on paper, it doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah, it doesn't. It reminds me of years ago. I had a partial tear of my rotator cuff, and I went to the orthopedic surgeon, and he looked at it and he said, "Yeah, you're definitely a candidate for surgery, but you're also a candidate for um, PRP, platelet-rich plasma." He said, "But the FDA here in America hasn't approved that yet, so your insurance won't pay for it. Not for shoulders, it will for knees." He goes, "But honestly, it's cheaper than your surgery copay and a faster recovery." And I said, "I'm in, I'm in." And then he said, "But I can't even give you a local. I'm going to have to go in through the front of your shoulder into the tear and inject your own plasma into it without any kind of local or anesthesia." And I said, "I'm still in because I will take 10 minutes of pain, intense pain, 5 to 10 minutes of intense pain, if I can see the light at the end of that tunnel." And the light at the end of that tunnel was no surgery and getting my shoulder back. And we had to do it twice. And he was right. It is, he said, "I've been told this is one of the most uncomfortable procedures that I do." And I believe him, but it was short and I did get through it and I embraced it because I knew there was an end. And in that term, in that time, I didn't even understand what I was really doing. But I have to remember that when, and if I'm really honest, I deal with physical pain better than I do like a minor illness, like a cold or a flu. So I got to remember that when I got the man flu.
Man, cold.
The struggle is real, wifey.
But I'll say this about pain: I'm not. I I stub my toe and it's like the end of the world. I don't do pain well. But the one thing that I've started recognizing is when I get a cold, I just like, oh crap. And now I'm starting, because of Karen, I'm starting to look at it. What do I need to do? And the biggest thing that I've come to on anything now is rest. For the first time in my life, I am saying no to some things. And, corporate America, I couldn't. On the farm, I couldn't. I had to push through. And I'm like, I'm done with that. If somebody, can't receive that I need that time to heal, then too bad, because that's where I'm at today. And I'm not suggesting that, you can necessarily do that because of your work. But the one thing that has really helped me is just to be with it, to rest, and not have that program going in my head like, why in the heck do I have a cold? Where did I pick this up at? And all that stuff. And so I don't know. I don't know why I said all that, but I give you permission to rest when you get a cold.
I know why you said it.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep all the big sister comments to myself right now, just so you know. You have no idea the restraint because I love you so much. The genius speaks for itself. You guys are amazing. Men and women really are different. Anybody figure that out?
I wrote a book about it.
Just so you know.
Yeah, I'm playing Nursey and have been since January. for my husband. I'm not the nursey type. So I know what you're saying. I really do.
Yeah,
I get it. I
you
feel
can
it.
hear it. You can hear it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I'm heading off to Hawaii. Break.
It makes complete sense to me.
Oh yeah.
Complete sense.
Did
Yeah,
I say that out loud?
you did. You did. You did. But we can always edit you out. But I think in this case, maybe not. We don't need to. Yeah. See, Maggie. She says, "I feel you, Gina." Oh my golly.
I have a quick story that, I mean, we've got so many, but this one just for me is fun. Not expected, didn't see it coming. We were in a season where Karen was teaching at a co-op, a grocery that's a part of a big co-op, and she packed the house out. It was really amazing. Did an amazing job, and for over about 10 years or so.
Cooking class,
by the way. So teaching women how to cook the kale that I wasn't. Anyway, we also apprenticed on an organic herbal farm, not too far from where we lived, and it was down in a hollow. And from the house, you had to walk down to the garden, and it was pretty steep, and they had stairs that they'd made out of railroad ties, and it had rained. They were a little slick, and Karen lost her footing and fell and injured her shoulder. Really bad. I mean, it was rough. She had a cooking class coming up. In the cooking class, she'll chop onions and do different things, and she can't do that now.
Yeah, I'm like, I have an arm in the sling. I'm like, well, what am I gonna do?
I said, I'll help. I mean, I'm up for anything, and why not? And there's about 35 people in this class, and I had met some of them. So we're going along, and I helped her get everything ready, and we're both up front and center. I'm over here chopping and sauteing onions and doing whatever needs to be done, and she's basically talking. And I kind of glanced over, and I could see she was fading, and I thought, okay, I need to give her a break. That was my thought, not Karen.
I freaked out.
She didn't want me breaking in to her class because she didn't know what I was going to say, because I'm probably not going to talk about what I'm doing. I kind of leaned over the counter and I go, would you like to hear a story about how we met? Oh my gosh. Everybody just got excited. And she's over there going, trying to take a breath. Well, I did a real condensed version of that. And after that, they said, when's Rick coming back? And we did that maybe 2 or 3 times. And what we realized after the fact was we were really good. I mean, it was like, here I am, kind of the comedian in a way. I'm not a comedian, but in relation to what Karen is doing, very serious, I would just, and sometimes she was cooking meat one time, doing something about meat. And I said, excuse me, Karen, do you all know? I just said, excuse me. And I went right to the class and I said, do you all know? And I gave them some information about beef and about, how to look for the good stuff and whatever. And I tell you what, everybody just thought that was great. So we've had conversations about, could we do something like that? And have never done anything with it.
Well, I'll say when I got over my freak out of him kind of taking over the class, which I was used to being in control, when I got over my freak out, it was actually fun. We had never done anything like that before. No. And it was like, oh, It's going to be fun.
I
So,
couldn't wait to get back. And finally, you know, after, like I said, after about 2 or 3, I said, okay, what do you want me to do this time? She said, I got it. I'm like, no, shoot, I lost my job.
Well,
Sous chef.
well, Ed needs you on projects, but Karen, could you be in charge of kale and broth in September?
yeah,
There's a whole bunch of there's a whole bunch of comments saying, "Where's the broth?"
I have to find some bones.
Oh, no problem.
Let me bring it over the border.
Yeah, we can't bring it over the border, right?
Well, sure you can.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's only citrus, but you have to check with the border. But
if you show us how to do it, we'll bring the stuff.
that's right. Okay, there you
We got
go.
lots of bones here. Don't worry, we can handle that.
Yeah. All right.
I'm telling you, buffalo bones are really good.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll get bison. How about that?
Bison, yeah, elk.
Yep.
Elk.
Okay.
Greg and Crystal are doing a thumbs up here.
Do
You
that.
know where to get it?
For bones, please.
We can find it.
We will. We have time.
Yeah.
Our neighbor has elk and deer.
Oh, right. We have a neighbor that, yeah.
Well, and his son can get us some, right?
Well, there you go. Well, we'll just, we have time. We have time.
Yeah.
And so you guys are just so much fun and quite amazing. Just your journey is so encouraging, and I don't know what anybody else's situation is or where your hearts are at, but you know, when you got two people, nobody's looking for love in all the wrong places or at all, and just your whole mindset before you met. I mean, nobody but God could orchestrate that collision course, really. That's
Right.
so good. So a true collision course. Good for you. And you are people of courage. I just feel that nothing's impossible because you're just at that level. You'll just step into the next and the next. And have you ever thought of doing a blog, a health blog or something, Karen?
I used to do something like that. I got lost in the weeds of viruses and people spamming your site, and I gave up. I let it go.
Oh,
So
okay.
those things I didn't know how to deal with, so I let it go.
I haven't let it go. I think you're a gem in hiding.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
She is. Most
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, you just never know. How are the rest of you doing here on the river?
Greg and Crystal have changed places, changed seats.
Rotating. Just want to say we really appreciated you guys sharing your personal stories, and yeah, it's really neat to hear how the Lord works and brings people together.
It really does. It really does. Well,
You know, one thing that we found out as we, you know, got together and we're traveling around the town, it's like, oh, I was blah blah blah. I've been there, but I'm like, well, so have I. I went to this concert at this church, and I said, where did you sit? And we're not so sure that we didn't sit close to one another.
Pretty
at the
close
same
to
time. So we have a lot of that synchronicity before we even, you know, come in contact with one another. And
It just wasn't time for us to meet.
Not then yet.
no, I think it's perfect. Just such a great story. Wow.
Yeah.
thanks.
And how's our little Sophia doing?
She's doing great.
Awesome.
She just continues to experiment with new ways of moving her body. She's not taken off in a way that maybe we want her to yet, but what she's doing with her body now is so amazing.
Sure.
learning to get in and out of chairs and learning to do those kinds of things that take a lot of different muscles that she's never used.
Yeah.
And she just continues to do this on her own. She's just pushing the boundary. It's, yeah.
She's decided I can do this.
Yes. Yeah. You see it in her.
Independent.
Yep.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, anyone have anything they want to add? Yeah, try to add to that story. Wow.
I guess I wanted to say one thing.
Okay.
I loved the story. It was great. But as you're telling the story about the broth and getting out to the farm and eating broth for a month, that sounds like you, Mom. Like that's something you would do. You'd grab onto something like that and say, no, we're cleaning the system. We're getting out of here. And it was so good.
Yeah. Well, we're importing them, so we're going to learn how.
Thank you, Bob. Good to hear from you.
And I just wanted to say, if I may, Rick and Karen, what you've done tonight in, telling us your story is that you flagged up in me anyway, times where I've had those direct no's, but they've just kind of not been crystallized. And tonight you've made me think of times when things like what you've experienced have happened to me or my husband, and the direct knowing. So that's been really helpful, and be able to write things down and remind myself what God has done at those times, which I didn't have language for. So you've enabled me you've given me language to experiences, as well as the book has, Helen has as well. But no, thank you for sharing, because it's it's quite enlightening and encouraging, as someone else has said. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you, Maggie.
Yeah. I think that's true for many of us. We're finding words that we didn't have, right? To be able to share with others is important, but even when we have the words for ourselves, it gets embedded in us more. It sort of gives us a center of gravity for what it is we're experiencing. Yeah.
I think too that maybe more than words, there's this knowing that what you've told us, what you've said, we've all had that. If we just sit back and it starts hitting you. You hear a story that is so impactful and so powerful and so synchronistic, that you think, well, yeah, oh, okay. Words or no words, the feeling.
Yeah.
And then we start remembering that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key of what we can learn from tonight too, is that, and your beautiful stories and how you related it is, we all have them.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe have passed them off, or weren't aware of that happening in that kind of way, in that perception way. And so we're really learning to hear ourselves, know ourselves, and to recognize those things. I think that's half the battle. Not that it's a battle. I don't, just saying, but it's half the way. It's half the pathway to getting it, to recognizing it, to being aware of it, to giving it license in our lives.
So
we're not taught stuff like that.
I was thinking that, as you were saying that, it's like those ripples and the knowing has always been there, but I didn't pick it up, or I did and I dismissed it. So now, just since we've all been talking about this and reading the book, that awareness is tuning up. It's getting sharper. Mm-hmm. I'm not dismissing things. I'm saying, oh, I noticed something, and to just sit with it, like you talked about. And I think that's so exciting. Feels like it's opening up something brand new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the more we hear your stories and people's real stuff, the more we get it. The more we can see it.
Yeah.
And see it in our own lives and remember.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Oh, love it.
And that's the encouraging part of community, right? You don't feel alone anymore, and it raises your own level of desire for more, but your own courage to say, I'm going to act on that. I'm going to move however. And I'm sitting here thinking another thing that I feel has been really deposited is that beautiful, both of you were not, I said it before, as you did, looking for love, looking for a mate. You're not on dating sites. We'll put it that way, and in the right time, in the right place, in a goofy moment in time, it all came together. And if it can come together for you, it can come together for everybody. And I like that part of it. That I know, that whole understanding of possibilities, even when you weren't directing yourself, but you were just being caught in the act of being yourself. And really and truly, that's such a beautiful story.
It's funny because we acted like a couple of young kids, quite honestly. It was, looking back on it and thinking about it, it was really funny how we started acting. And it was just,
Yeah.
just natural. It was like puppy love or something. I don't know.
It just was, and it just is.
Yeah.
It hasn't stopped. The honeymoon's still on. That's so good.
Can I? Yeah. Oh, I really loved your testimonies and how the two of you came together. Wow, it really warms my heart. It reminds me of two half puzzles coming together and looking at each other's pieces on each ends, and then all of a sudden, oh, this piece fits here, that piece, and then all of a sudden could click. It's just like a beautiful harmony and just like nice music and poetry just going. Uh, Me, it's just like it's better than a hot bowl of soup. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And yeah, thank you for putting yourselves out there like this. And it's just so simple. It's just so simple and pure and honest. And like, wow, I love this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jacques.
Thank you.
So, beautifully said, Jacques. Thank you. Elizabeth.
Yeah, totally. What Jacques was just saying. I just want to say you guys just blessed me and blessed all of us so much tonight. You're just so cute and you guys just shine. And it's such an encouragement. And it's interesting because I was thinking about you earlier before the meeting. And then I started thinking about like couples. And it's so encouraging, just this togetherness and this oneness that you two have. And what I was thinking about was years ago, we have a couple friends, they're a couple, and we went to the river and we were going to go kayaking. And my friend Sharon was like, well, Ed and I do better in our own kayaks. And I hadn't gone before, but Todd and I got, one, a bigger one. I guess it was bigger. A two-person one. And it was so amazing because their kayaks just kind of, they did pretty good, but it sort of went in circles. But Todd and I, as soon as we got those strokes right, we just went. And God was like, do you see? Do you see? But I see that with both of you, like you've come together and like you said, restoration husband, right? But for both of you, like what a restoring and just speeding ahead. Like, let's go. And all that Helen has been teaching on the river, you guys have just totally, received everything, and it's just become a part of you. And that's so apparent to all of us. And yeah, it's just such a testimony. My heart just feels so warm and so ministered to. So thank you so much for opening up yourselves. And I love your vulnerability. You guys always are. And it just really, really, it touches all of us. It softens all of our hearts as you reveal yourselves like that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Appreciate your perspective very much. Yeah.
And beautifully said, just beautifully, just touched my heart. That's all. You spoke for all of us. Thank you. Wow. I'm trying to read the chat. Sorry. Wow. What a lovely evening. It's I just feel like the peace has come over like a blanket, just and hope, and anything's possible. I mean, really, you guys are a miracle walking. You really are. And I really believe all of the people in your life, your family, everyone is ministered by it. Even if they don't say anything, their hearts are completely absorbing it and changing them, and they don't know what it is. But I want to encourage you to keep on being Rick and Karen. That's it. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So good.
Kind. Appreciate it.
Wow. Everybody good?
I feel like we entered the field. I had just that whole feeling before we started tonight was we're all entering that field of unlimited possibilities together when we come together. And
we are. Yeah. Yeah.
We're experiencing that together now. And I think we're just on the tip of the iceberg of what that is.
Exactly. Well, I haven't run out of words, but I'm just receiving the blessing that you sent out. Thank you. How about are we good? Gina, you won't be here next week because you'll be saying aloha.
I might come in a hula dress.
Okay, well, that's just fine. Knowing you, there'll probably be some music that goes with it.
Oh, I don't know.
Please do.
Well, yeah, I'll play it by ear.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I just pray blessing on every single one of you. First of all, Rick and Karen, I thank you for just being yourself. Lord, what an amazing gift you've given us tonight. We thank you for Rick and Karen. Thank you that you've gone ahead of them in every step of the way in their life. Thank you for the amazing testimony. Thank you for healing. Thank you for wisdom and knowledge that they walk in separately but together. Thank you, Father, for the richness of your glory that's lighting on their path. Thank you for their desires that they have spoken and held in their heart. Lord, I thank you that you've gone ahead of them in all of it to make it happen. And Lord, we just bless them. Bless their family, their friends. Thank you that everything that they put their hands to is blessed. And Lord, I thank you that you increase in them and through them continually. And Father, what you do in one, you do in all. So Lord, we just receive your blessings on our lives. And Lord, we bless you and thank you. We're grateful for absolutely everything and every moment. Amen.
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 Love you all.
What a beautiful, beautiful night you gave us. Thank you.